Marie Curie, written by Kira Fred. Focus question: who was Marie Curie and how did she change the world of science? Trailblazer. At a time when few women were scientists, when women's research and discoveries changed the world, she left her homeland to study science and math at a leading university. She pursued her scientific interests even though the world seemed to put one obstacle after another in front of her. She became the first female Nobel Prize recipient and the only person ever awarded Nobel Prizes in two different scientific fields. This groundbreaking scientist was Marie Curie. Early years: Marie Curie was born Maria Skłodowska on November 7, 1867, in Warsaw, Poland. She was called Mania as a child. Mania was the youngest of 5 children. The mother had been headmistress of a school but resigned when Mania was born. The father taught math and physics at a boys' high school. When Maya was born, Poland was not an independent country. It had been divided up in 1815 after several wars, and parts of it belonged to Russia, Prussia, and Austria. The area where Mania's family lived was ruled by the Russian Empire, which attempted to eradicate the Polish national identity. Mania grew up in a climate of fear while showing loyalty to Poland, or even simply speaking Polish, could put people's lives in jeopardy. Mania's father lost his job as a teacher in 1873 because of his support for Polish independence. The family's economic situation declined, and they were eventually forced to take in boarders. In 1876, Maya's oldest sister, Zofia, died of typhus, a deadly bacterial infection. Mania's mother died 2 years later, when Mania was 10. Mania's father provided an intellectually and emotionally nurturing environment for his children. He read classic literature to them and taught them about physics using equipment from his former teaching position. Manu was a bright, curious child and an outstanding student who learned physics and math with ease. She was awarded top honors when she graduated from high school at age 15 in 1883. Patience and preparation. Manya and her sister Bronya wanted to continue their education, but women could not attend the University of Warsaw. They would need to leave Poland but did not have enough money. As a result, the sisters attended Warsaw's floating university, free, illegal education offered by Polish teachers and intellectuals that took place in attics and basements around the city. Although the classes were no match for the finest European universities, they kept Mania current on scientific breakthroughs. Both sisters wanted to attend the Sorbonne in Paris, but they had no money for tuition. They struck a deal. Mania would earn money for Branya's education, and Branya would return the favor after earning her degree. Mania worked as a tutor for governess for 5 years and studied literature, sociology, physics, chemistry, and math in her free time. Through this work, she knew that math and physics were the right path for her. After helping her sister pay for her schooling, it was Mania's turn to attend Paris at last. Maya moved to Paris in 1891 at age 24 and enrolled at the Sorbonne. She took the name Marie, the French version of Maria at the time. After devoting herself to her studies for 2 years, she graduated first in a class with a master's degree in physics. The following year, she earned a second master's in math. Before completing her math degree, Mary, whatever it is, received a commission to study the magnetic properties of different types of steel. She needed a laboratory because the research involved large equipment. In the spring of 1894, a colleague introduced her to Pierre Curie, a physics professor who had done groundbreaking research on magnetism. As a laboratory chef at Paris Municipal School of Industrial Physics and Chemistry, Pierre arranged for Marie to use some lab space. Although Marie and Pierre's original connection was simply that of two scientists who respected each other's fine minds, the relationship deepened into love. They married in July 1895. While Mary was busy with her research, she also earned a teaching certificate so she could teach science to young women. After completing her research, she decided to pursue a doctorate at the Sorbonne. Mary and Curie had a daughter, Irene, in 1897. Most mothers at the time were expected to stay home and care for the children, but Mary continued to be dedicated to her scientific pursuits. Pierre's father moved in and cared for Irene so Mary and Pierre could continue their work. Two types of rays. Murray needed to find a topic for doctoral research. Two important discoveries had recently been made in the world of physics. In late 1895, Wilhelm Röntgen, a German physicist, discovered X-rays. Early the following years, French physicist Henri Becquerel discovered that the chemical element uranium also emitted rays which were weaker than X-rays. Scientists were fascinated with X-rays and began studying them in depth. Mary decided to instead study uranium rays. Mary was interested in studying the effect of uranium rays on air. Using a device known as an electrometer, she measured barely perceptible electric currents in air that had been plastered with uranium rays. Mary verified Becquerel's observations that uranium in any form emitted electricity and that more uranium emitted more intense rays. In addition, she hypothesized and later proved that the rays was an inherent property of uranium's structure rather than a product of its physical or chemical state. Maurice then became curious about whether uranium was the only element that made air conduct electricity better, so she tested every known element. She discovered that the thorium also emitted rays, and she coined that word radioactivity to refer to the emission of rays from an atom's nucleus or center. Merck continued to test various materials to see which ones emitted rays. When she tested a mineral called pitchblende, which contains uranium, she found that it gave off more rays than its uranium could account for. She concluded that pitchblende must contain a second radioactive element, one that was unknown. Up to this point, Pierre Curie had been involved in his own research on crystals. In 1898, as Mary's work progressed, he set aside his research to assist her in studying radioactivity. The research for a new element was compelling for both of them. After extensive research, they discovered two new elements, polonium, named from Mary's homeland, and radium, from the Latin word for ray. Industrialis was fascinated by the curious discovery
Good job. What? No way. You got a perfect score? I'm